Today on the channel, we take a classic, we throw a twist on it, we smoke the potatoes first on the Yoder, then we put it together and let the Yoder do its job. Came out delicious. Stay tuned, I'll show you how we did it. What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today on the channel, we're getting back to cooking. We broke out the Yoder, got it going at 180. We've done a lot of meat on the channel, so I figured, hey, the holidays are coming. Let's do something different. Today we're gonna do, in the States you'd call them potatoes au gratin. Back home we call them scalloped potatoes. But we're gonna do them a little bit differently. We're gonna slice them up, we're gonna throw them on the smoker, and we're gonna get some smoke in them and just really enhance that flavor. So what I've done here is I've gone ahead and I have peeled a bunch of golden potatoes. You can use Idaho, you can use golden, probably not red, but either one of these will work. Kind of peeled these ahead of time. I'm assuming that you know how to peel a potato. Now I know it's wrong to assume, so if you don't know how to peel a potato, then you know, maybe go use your YouTube skills and find a video on it real quick. But it's super easy, obviously. And we're going to use a mandolin. You can do these with a knife. I personally am lazy and usually use a mandolin. Actually, I have a little bit of a gadget fetish, we'll say. Anyone who knows me knows that I've got an 8-foot shelf downstairs that's full of gadgets. I actually have another username called Gadget Guy. Once I get this channel up and running, I'm probably going to do a gadget channel. It's all cooking gadgets, you know, whether it be slicers, handheld smokers, different thermometers, sous vide, pasta makers, you name it. I've got a gadget for it. But really what we're doing here is we're slicing these, you know, about 1/4 inch thick. Totally up to you on how thin or thick you want them. I like them a little bit on the thicker side. Some people will definitely do them on the thinner side, but it's just personal preference. For measurement's sake, you know, this was a 5-pound bag. Depends on how many you're doing, but you know, if you make too many, it's not the end of the world. Just peel a bunch and cut them up. Oops, got a jumper. All right, that's what we're left with, a whole bunch of potatoes. But here's where we're gonna change it up. Got some racks just to make it easier. But really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get some smoke into these. We're gonna put them on the rack. Pack them as tight as you can. There's a lot of potatoes here. I'm probably gonna double stack a little bit just because I need the room. But really all we're trying to do is get some flavor. I've played with smoked potatoes a little bit, not a ton. This is actually the first time I'm doing it this way. In my head it sounds good. In theory, or in my head it sounds good. we'll find out if that actually comes true. I mean, I just want to get some smoke. I'm not trying to get them overly smoky, but I think some smoke flavor in them would be great. But typically potatoes kind of struggle with taking in smoke. You know, when the winter's coming and there's some snow on the ground, and maybe if it's snowing, I'm going to be kind of moving the channel inside. Still going to be using the grills a little bit, but there's lots of things that I like to make, like pasta. I started making bread last year, and there's you know, I'm going to show you how to make some smoked mashed potatoes inside. You don't even need a smoker or anything, and I've done that a couple times and it turns out really good, so I'm hoping I'm going to kind of get the same effect here. So now that we've got one rack, we'll throw this on the Yoder. Now the Yoder's set at 180. We're not trying to really cook these, we just want to get some smoke in them. We want them to cook once we get the rest of the dish put together. So on the Yoder, we've got these pieces that come down, and if you don't kind of put these in the middle, they will hit your racks here. So just put them in the middle. I've just got the half rack in there, but these will close. This will close nicely over top of that. And what we're going to do is we're going to let those smoke for, I'm thinking about 40 minutes. I don't want to overdo it. I do want to give them some time to smoke though. And again, we're only at 180, so we're not really going to cook them too much. I've got hickory in here. You can use a lighter wood if you're you know, you don't want to overpower your guests. I think hickory is going to be fine, just because when I've done potatoes in the past, they really haven't absorbed the smoke that much. So we'll find out. Maybe in the end I'll tell you, hey, use pecan, who knows. But anyhow, we're going to wait for 40 minutes and then we'll come out and we'll start to put it together. And just like that, it's been about 35 minutes. Let's have a look at the potatoes. They're looking good. Definitely got some smoke into them. You can feel they dried out a little bit. That's not really going to be a problem because we're going to put them in a cheese sauce. But they're done. Before we pull them off though, we need to get our cheese sauce done. So here's what we got going on. Take an onion for later. In this pot, I have 2 cups of milk. You can use whatever milk you want. Doesn't really matter too much. We've got about 1 clove of garlic minced. I cheated and used the pre-minced stuff. Have 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of fresh ground pepper. Have 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. And then we've got some, you know, fresh grated white cheddar cheese. We're using white just for presentation. You can use whatever color you want, doesn't really matter. But again, it's fresh grated. It's delicious. You need about 2 cups. I started with 3 and I've been eating it ever since. But that's on you. Anyhow, what we're going to do is we're going to warm up the milk. We've got 3 ounces of butter as well that we're going to put in here right away. And we're going to fire up the links and get that warmed up. Now the big thing here is that you don't want to heat this up super quickly. You don't want to boil the milk. You just want to bring it up to a nice heat. It's strong enough to melt the butter, melt in some cheese, but don't get it too hot. So while I was inside prepping everything, I was reflecting on the fact that I assumed that you knew how to peel potatoes. If you found that kind of insulting, because you should never assume something, feel free to blast me in the comments below. But while you're down there, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. So as this comes up to temperature, you can start to add your garlic. We'll add our salt and pepper. And then we'll slowly add our cornstarch. Now the cornstarch is really going to help thicken it up. So a little bit at a time. Our butter's not 100% melted. We're almost there. We want to start getting this thickened up. Now we've got all that nice incorporated. We'll start with our cheese. And if you've ever made cheese fondue, you don't want to add too much cheese at a time. It'll get weird. You want to get some cheese in there, get it melted. Now we're getting into a nice thick sauce. Now we're not going to use all the cheese. We're going to leave a little bit for the top, but we want to get we want to get a bunch in here. Just so we get it nice and thick. All right, we've got our cheese where we want it. What we're going to do is we're going to cut up a little bit of onions. And I'm just going to, on the thinner side, those off to the side. So our sauce is done. Let's get our potatoes off. It's gonna be hot. We're gonna dial this up to 350. And we're gonna get these into the bowl. Now we've got our cheese sauce. And the goal here is we want to mix this all in. Now the potatoes got a little dried out because they've been smoked for a little while. So this is going to help rehydrate them. We want to get them good and mixed in there. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put them in a corningware dish. Do yourself a favor, give it a good spray of oil. And I like to, you can mix your onions in, but I actually like to kind of layer them a little bit. These onions will melt right down. Now, here you gotta make a little bit of decision. If you think it's a little bit too thick right now, you could add some milk to it. I am gonna add a little bit of milk just because I did have a bunch of cheese in there, and the potatoes are a little bit dried out because they actually smoked by the time we got this done for closer to 50 minutes. So a little bit of milk would just help rehydrate. So we got a little bit more milk. I've still got a little bit of cheese left in the bottom of this, so I'm gonna combine these and just warm it up. It'll just help thin it out a little bit more. Well, there's enough residual heat in here. I just wanted to kind of get it incorporated. And as a final step, we left a little bit of cheese here. We're just going to kind of sprinkle this on top. And once you're happy with that, we get it back on the Yoder. Yoder is at 285. We're going to put this on for about an hour to an hour and a half. We're going to leave it covered for at least the first hour, and then we're going to pull the lid off and just help brown the top layer a little bit. So we're an hour in. Potatoes are pretty much done. What we want to do is we want to just take that lid off. We want to let some of that crust form on the outside. And what we're going to do is we're going to move them to the top rack just to allow some of that hot air to go across the top of the potatoes. "15 minutes down. Potatoes looking great. Want to add a little bit of color to them, so we're going to throw on some green onions right across the top. Got some good actually crunch to them. You can feel that going on there. I think these things are going to be delicious. We'll let them sit for another 15 minutes just to get those onions a little bit cooked, and then I'll show you how they taste. All right, let's have a look. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We got some good color coming on the top of them. Onions are nice and cooked. This is looking real good. What I'm gonna do, just because I've got time, I'm gonna flip this around. One of the hottest spots on the Yoder is right when the smoke goes out the stack here. So we're gonna just rotate that around just a little bit. Give that just another 10 minutes, just so I can get a little bit of extra crunch on the outside. I mean, this is crunchy. It all feels good. I just want to get a little bit of color on there. We'll give that another few minutes, and then we'll pull her off. All right, let's see what we got. Oh yeah, we're looking good. Right where we want it. Spin this guy off. Looking good. It's hot, it's bubbling away. Got some great crunch on the outside. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna let this cool off a little bit so I don't burn my face off when I try and eat it. But we'll be back in a few minutes. So it's been about 6 minutes. I think we're good to get a taste here. I mean, they look great, to be honest. Let's have a look. Get some on a plate here so you can see what we're talking about. Ooh, that's hot. Just gonna grab a little taste here. I'm actually having these for dinner, so I'm hoping they're good. The top ones have got definitely a little bit of crunch. Honestly, the smoke is not as powerful as I thought. I was a little bit worried about using hickory. The more I thought about it, because I thought, you know, you don't want to have too much smoke in it, but it's a pretty good balance. Those are a hit in my book. Looking forward to having those with dinner. Definitely a little bit different. Not crazy different, but it is a nice little twist on a classic dish. Next time you're bored of the same old baked potatoes or mashed potatoes, even, you know, potatoes au gratin or scalloped potatoes, and you just want to try something different, highly recommend you giving this a shot. It just puts a nice twist on a classic, and I think you'll enjoy it. Once again, thanks as always for watching. I appreciate your support. Click that thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Click subscribe. We'll be doing another video next weekend, so I'll see you soon.